I worked at Sunset Gap Thrift Store for 30-something years, ever since 1982. And I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the customers. I just had a good time. One of the good things I remember was just meeting all the different people. And we used to talk about everything and anything. And they all wanted a hug when they left. And they got them. I hugged and hugged and hugged. And I liked it. Used to, when the thrift shop had opened, I'd go upstairs and hide instead of facing the people. But I got used to it. It was hard, but I got used to it. And Betty made me stay in the thrift shop with her. So, it was a wonderful experience. I didn't understand the difference between black people and white people because we had never been around them. I met some of the most wonderful black people in the world and loved every one of them. And that was a good experience for me. And the thrift shop was the reason that I got to meet all those people.
One of the wonderful resources that Sunset Gap offered was a thrift shop for the people in the community. Adults from both counties, Cock and Sevier County, would come in each time the thrift shop was open, and Miss Betty Williams was in charge of that, and Tootie, as I can remember. We had clothing and items shipped in from different churches all over the country. The boxes of goods would come and be delivered at a gas station in Newport, and then Dad and I would take our van and go pick up those boxes and bring them back. And so when Miss Betty would get to the thrift shop, on occasion she would see all these new items and she would separate them and put them where they needed to be, and that way they were offered to all the folks in the area. I remember when I was a senior in high school, I was in the senior play, and we had to have our clothing. We were all dressed up as senior citizens, so I found the perfect clothes from our thrift shop that I was able to use. So the thrift shop was very beneficial to everyone in the community.
There always was the thrift shop. It had been going on for years, and I've heard people say I could never have raised my children without the thrift shop at Sunset Gap. Always Betty and Tootie and others who took such care in opening the boxes and getting the clothing in order and hanging it up and being there for the families who came to buy for nickels and dimes and quarters. And they were happy to have the experience. I once got a dress that I liked from the thrift shop, and somehow it got a picture taken with me and the preschool children. And I always thought somebody who gave that dress to the thrift shop probably thought, that Kaye Davis takes advantage of the thrift shop. I didn't really very much, but it was a wonderful thing for the community and has a long history.
I would not have had any clothes had it not been for the thrift shop. Thank God for that.
The thrift shop was always an important part of Sunset Gap. Betty and Tootie has always run that thing as far as I can remember. I bought a lot of clothes down there, shirts and pants. And the thrift shop is really important to a lot of people in the community, being able to have their clothes at a decent price, cheap.
The thrift shop is where I spent most of my time there. I never got bored at the thrift shop. There was always something to do. sometimes before a sale, we would work until 11 o'clock at night to get everything ready for the next day. I had a lot of help in the thrift shop with the ladies in the community, the work camp groups, my children. They helped fold clothing up, hang the clothing up, and sweep floors and whatever else had to be done. With the thrift shop, one thing that I enjoyed doing was meeting the people, helping them find what clothing they needed or whatever. Today, most of the clothing is local, but when I first started working, we got 2 big shipments a year, and I would have to drive into Newport to the Exxon station and pick up 4 or 5 truckloads and bring back to the center, and we stored it away, and it would last from season to season.
Well, my great Aunt Dewey ran the thrift shop, before Mama started working in it. I think Aunt Dewey passed away in '67 or '68. I remember going to her funeral up there, and Mama started working in the thrift shop, and she'd buy a lot of our clothes that we wore that come through the thrift shop. Sometimes I'd get a really neat shirt or hat or pair of shoes, and I'd wear them to school. And where'd you get that? And I'd tell them. I said, thrift shop, how much it cost? That time they had some nickel sales and some dime sales. Now they have a few quarter sales. And I'd tell them, they'd say, you're lying. There ain't no way that cost a dime. You're lying. And I said, no, it's at Sunset Gap. They got a thrift store. And of course, we'd be there a lot during the summer. Mama would cook for work camp groups and work in a thrift shop, so we were there about every day. And sometimes we'd go in there before she opened up, and we'd play on the floor, look at books, play with blocks, stuff like that. And you just let people line up at the door. I remember them lining their cars up down the road, lining up at the door. Some of them that would try to get in early. Oh, I've got to leave early today, Betty. Can you let me in? No, I can't. Can't open the door at a certain time. And then you'd open the door, boy, here come a flood of these, mostly women, some men. They'd start going through all the clothes, and we'd usually go outside and play when that happened. But that was a neat program that's still going on. And my wife and Doris Wilson and Sister Karen still help with that. It's been going on a long, long time. It's served a really big need in the community to get some good quality clothes for some used, some new, to families that really need them.